Hey guys, welcome back to yet another Monday critique. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I'm having a wonderful day. So today, before we jump into this Monday critique, I just wanted to make sure that you, whoever's here right now, just want to make sure that you guys can hear me. And I want to do some quick housekeeping as well. So as you guys know, there was no Monday critique last week. Because I was in Miami. Now, unfortunately, there's not going to be a Monday critique next Monday as well because I'm going to be in New York. So there will be a Monday critique, not next week, but the following week. Okay. If you guys want to submit your images to be critiqued, please submit your images to the Facebook group, which I'm going to show right now. Let me bring that up. Sorry about that. Let's get this up. All right, so, the focus tracking box is on. Thank you. Let me get rid of that really quickly because that would be annoying. Thank you for that. Let me transition out of this. Yes, that is annoying. So let's get rid of that immediately. Boom. There we go. Thank you, Alan. Appreciate that. So let's get this back up. All right. So if you guys wanted to submit your images to be critiqued, please go to the Fine Art Photography and Modeling group. It's a group on Facebook. And in that group, I pinned a specific post in that group where you could, in the comment section, submit your images to be critiqued. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of images here already to be critiqued. So just scroll through. Oops, I went too far. So just scroll through here and you will see tons of images. So just go ahead and submit your images to be critiqued and it will be critiqued on the Monday Critique Show. All right, so what else? So let's jump straight into this Monday critique. And I just noticed that my video is not showing below, so let me fix that really quick. So hang on guys, give me 1 second. Where is it? Let's fix this. All right, it doesn't want to get fixed. So I guess you won't be seeing me while I show the Monday the images, which is fine. Okay, so let's continue here. So we have two wonderful images that was submitted today for critique. And we're gonna go over both of these images. Now, both of these images were great images that were submitted. The first one that we're gonna look at, his name is Carlos. Carlos had submitted images in the past to be critiqued. And, you know, a lot of his images that he was submitted in the past was great. And this one is as well. So let's get into it. So the first thing that we have here is the settings that I want to point out to you guys here, the ones that he submitted here, which is he shot this image at 1/125th of a second, and he shot it at f1.8. The ISO was at 500, and he used a 50 lens on this. I guess the 51.4 lens, but he shot it at 1.8, and he used a Canon 5D Mark II. And the main light source in this image utilized here was the window light. Okay, so let's get into this. Now, as I go through this, guys, if you have any comments about the image, if you agree, disagree, or if I forgot to say something that you guys see, please point it out in the comment section, and let's have a conversation about it, because it would certainly help not only me, but it will help Carlos and everybody else that's watching the Monday Critique. So again, if you see anything, just point it out that I didn't mention, or if you disagree with anything that I say, just point it out in the comments and let's have a conversation about it. All right, so let's start with the very first thing, which is light. That's the main things that I like to start with. I focus on primarily 3 things when I'm looking at an image and I'm critiquing the image. That's light, pose, and composition. And then I generally dive into post-production if need be with these images. So first thing, let's start with, it's light. Now, me personally, my style of photography, I love incorporating color into my images. I like color. You may see some of my images as black and white images, and that's when I'm trying to go for like a really, really contrasty image. But I really like color. So when I saw this image initially, I was like, wow, okay, I really like the colors that you have going on in this image. So that's the first thing that drew me to it. The light that's on the subject's face, typically I would probably say, this type of light, especially the main light I'm talking about here, that's falling on her face, I would say to myself that, the light on her face is not that great. The light pattern is not that great, especially it seems to be, mostly concentrated around her neck. However, when I look at this image, I get more of like a movie type feeling from it. It feels a little bit more cinematic. It feels like a still image from a movie when I look at it, and that's the feeling I get from it. So I can kind of forgive the main lighting that's falling on the subject's face. So as far as the lighting is concerned, that's my general feeling. Now, the one thing I would like to point out here with respect to the lighting is basically trying to complement the colors in this image. So when you're using gels, I talked about this in other videos, but when you're using gels, or if you're just utilizing the natural light that's available, which is what he is using, the ambient light here that is available in this hallway or wherever the subject is in this particular image, when you're utilizing bold colors such as this red color, what I generally try to do or try to look for is I try to look for complementary colors. And complementary colors helps, bring your image together. Okay. Now, because you have such a bold color, which is red in this image, the complementary color for red generally is green. So what I would try to go for is I would try to have the subject either have maybe like a green blouse as opposed to a black blouse, or maybe bring some gels into this if you had gels. But given that you were just using natural light, what I would try to go for is try to have maybe the outfit, to be, green or something, just to complement that bold color that's behind the subject. So in preparation for this, I basically gathered up a couple of examples. So when I'm working on, and by the way, the website that I'm showing you guys here is from Adobe, and I generally go to Adobe to utilize this complementary wheel. And you guys could go here. It's called color.adobe.com. I'll put it in the description, and you guys could, go to it if you want to utilize it. But when I don't know what color complements another color, I would go to this color wheel, and the color wheel would basically tell me what color complements the other. Now, to get an exact match, what I generally would do is I would probably download the image into like Photoshop and choose the color picker and pick that color here, and then you could go here, right? And then you could get that exact, if you look down here, you could get that exact color match for the opposite color. So in your particular case, you know, you were somewhere around here as far as the red is concerned. That's your primary color. And then the opposite color there would be green. So in post, given that the subject wasn't wearing, you know, any green, or you weren't utilizing any gels in your shots, I would have tried to, in post, I would have tried to add some greens maybe to the shadow area of this image, just to basically have those colors complement each other. So another thing that I was doing was basically going on Google here, and I did a search for movie color palettes, right? So for movie color palettes, I use this a lot. Sorry guys, got a frog in my throat. So for movie color palettes, I use this a lot to help me with trying to create images. And it also helps inspire me, not only for colors, but it also helps inspire me for compositions, or, you know, just giving you a good feeling, a good mood as to what direction you want to take a particular project that you're working on. Okay, so if you just do a search on Google here for movie color palette, and you could see you know, these guys, as far as these colorists that lives in that works in Hollywood and works in these types of movies and stuff, these guys study this stuff religiously, and, you know, they know it inside and out. I don't know all the, you know, the various colors and, you know, what, you know, drives people when they look at a certain color and whatnot. But if you just, you know, do a search on movie color palettes, and you just study what these guys are doing with respect to, you know, how they color particular images, you would, you know, you will walk away with a sense of how you're supposed to, you know, work on your particular image. So that's my suggestion. I would suggest that you go through and, you know, look through some of this stuff. Like, I look at specific movies that, you know, that I enjoy, and I look at, you know, how I look at the stills from those movies, and I try to, you know, examine it as far as how it was lit, how they colored it and stuff like that. So I would suggest doing some stuff like that with respect to, you know, working with complementary colors and just working with composition just overall. All right, so that's the lighting. So from a lighting perspective, that's my thoughts there with respect to your image. But like I said, I don't mind the fact that the light, you know, is falling on her chest and her neck primarily. I don't mind it so much because it feels like a still from a movie. So, you know, that's props to you. All right, so now let's move on to the pose in this image. So from a posing perspective, I like the generic nature of the pose. It's fine, but given that it's a still image, I was hoping for a little bit more gesture of motion. I was just looking for something a little bit more with respect to the pose. And the way I was thinking about doing that was maybe, you know, just introducing that right arm that's right now hidden on the subject, maybe somehow introducing that. Maybe she could play with her hair. Maybe she could put her hand on, you know, this white wall here, just something, or maybe put it on her chest, just something to introduce some type of movement into the image. Now, and then as far as her nose is concerned, I think this is also has to do with composition. So I'm going to try to blend these two things into one here. So with respect to her nose, I think generally you don't want to unless there's a specific reason for doing this, and I can't think of any right now, but generally you don't want to shoot up someone's nose. It's just generally not flattering, and you would want to shy away from doing something like that. So in order to avoid that, what I would suggest is maybe having the subject bringing her nose down just a little bit, so it's not, you know, like the first thing you connect to as far as the viewer is concerned, which I'm viewing your image and that's the first thing I connect to. So that's what I would suggest there. The other thing that you could do with respect to the composition is I would probably want to bring my camera angle up a little bit, so you're shooting slightly higher as opposed to lower, and that would help eliminate that, you know, looking up the nose. So that's what I would suggest there. So those are the things that I would suggest with respect to the light, the pose, and the composition for this particular image. So I'm gonna go to the chat here and see what other folks had to say, if anything, about this particular image before we move on to the next image. All right, so let me make the switch. And this one is still not displaying. Give me 1 second, guys. Let me fix this. Okay. And this one should be fixed. All right. So let me see what you guys had to say with respect to this particular image. All right, so Alan had said here, like a freeze frame from a video, sort of. Yeah, I think it's like a freeze frame. I really like the mood of this particular image. I think he really did a good job in capturing that. So what else you guys have to say about this image? Anything else? You agree with all my points, or do you have any other suggestions about this particular image? So Cool Picks, I don't know if I'm saying that right. I agree with the no statement, not flattering looking up. Yeah, yeah, in general, you just want to stay away from that. And Alan Camera fan also agrees with the up the nose statement as well. So, all right. So if you guys have any more comments about, oh, like cool. Okay, cool. So cool pics photography. All right. So I'm going to move on to the next image. So let's switch out here, and I think I got my video problem solved in the switching. So now you guys should be able to see me below. Awesome. All right, so moving on to the next image. The next image here is by Mario Fernando. So Mario submitted this image. It's a pretty awesome image. The settings that he utilized in this particular image is he utilized a 50 millimeter lens. His ISO on this particular image was 100. His f-stop was at 5.6. His shutter speed was at 250. He utilized one flash with a gold umbrella camera left, and he utilized one flash with a 60 by 60 centimeter softbox camera right. Okay, so that's the basic settings that he utilized for this particular image. So let's expand this image and dive into it and take a little closer look at this particular image. So immediately when I saw this image, my overall feeling when I saw it, I just thought it was a great image. I really did. I think you did a really great job here capturing this image. So let's look at the image with respect to light. Okay. So from a lighting perspective, I really think you did a really awesome job with the lighting. The only thing I would suggest with the lighting on your subject, I don't know if this is on her face here, if this is light contamination, meaning, you know, light that's coming from, I don't know where she is, if it's a parking lot or wherever she is. It looks like there's a little bit of light contamination or a little bit of highlights there. So I would say if you could, perhaps in post, you know, try to blend or reduce some of that highlight a little bit. And like as far as her, now I'm deviating a little bit. I'm diving straight into post-production. Let's continue here with the lighting. So lighting wise, I like what you did here with the lighting. I like the fact that you were able to pull out details in her hair. I really like that because it would have been, you know, in shadow. So utilizing that softbox and camera, right? I think you really did an awesome job with that. And you really did a great job with, you know, just revealing some of her face here and keeping the rest of it in shadow, which is great. I really love when, you know, you can add depth and dimension to an image. So great job with that. The other thing here that I would suggest with respect to from a lighting perspective is if you had maybe a third light, right? Maybe you could have put a third light in here, and that third light could have been a gelled light to just add a little bit more mood to this particular image. And that would also help separate the subject from the background and basically, you know, just add a little bit more atmosphere back here. So that pretty much is all I have to say with respect to the lighting. I really love the image overall, and all the stuff that I'm talking about with respect to the lighting is mostly nitpicky items. I think anybody will be happy to have this particular image in their portfolio. So great job with that. All right, so now let's move on to the pose. Simply put, I have no comment on the pose. I think the pose is great. I don't think I would suggest changing anything. Generally, I would say try not to lock arms on women when you're posing them, but for some reason this works for me. And yeah, that's the only thing I would say. I don't know. I would have loved to see this image with just a little bit of space here between, you know, the subject's waist, but that's really nitpicking. And I think you did an awesome job. So I wouldn't, you know, like I said, I really loved the pose initially, so there's very little I would change with it. So great job with that. All right. Now let's move on to the composition. So again, from a compositional perspective, I love the way you compose the shot. There's nothing in there that I thought you cut off or didn't include or exclude. I really think you did an awesome job there. The only thing that's a little bit distracted to me, and again, this is just nitpicking, is whatever this thing is. It just feels like a bench or something back there, but it just is a little bit distracting, but it's not a big deal. It's just a little bit distracting. All right. Lastly, I will talk a little bit about why do I feel distorted? Okay, that sounds better. Lastly, I want to talk about the post-production in this particular image. Now, I think with respect to the post-production, I think we could really blend the lights and shadows a little bit better in this particular image. So for example, like when I look here at her stomach, I look at her face with the lights, the highlights on her face, and then the shadows here. It just feels like, you know, when you look at her eye socket, it feels like her eye socket is a little bit sunk in. And that's because the light that's hitting her cheekbone here is giving it an illusion like her eye socket is sunk in. So I would say with respect to post-production, trying to blend lights and shadows on your subject just a little bit better. So like here, you know, blending this a little bit better, you know, blending this a little bit better, blending that. And if you can't see these things that I'm talking about, I'm sure when you know, analyze your image on your own and look at it more, you would see. And another thing that you could do to help see these things is put your image in black and white. I'm not saying to convert your image to black and white. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is when you're doing your retouching, put a layer at the top of your image and make that layer black and white. And then, you know, you can drop your yellows or your reds, and then you can really see the difference between light and shadows with respect to your image. And once you see that, then I would suggest try to blend those things really, you know, utilizing your brush. Put a dodge and burn layer on there and utilize your brush and really try to blend these things. One of the things that you could do that people do that try to cheat, or not cheat, I shouldn't say cheat, but try to do it quickly. You could utilize, you know, frequency separation, and within frequency separation, as you know, well, a lot of people know, I'm hoping that you know, with frequency separations is that you have two layers. You have the layer that works with the shadows, you know, basically the layer that you blur pretty much. And then the layer that deals with the texture, the one that basically you would use to remove pimples and stuff like that. So what I would suggest is add another layer which deals with the shadows and that has that blur on top of the already existing layer that has the blur that's dealing with the shadows and stuff. So once you have those two layers, basically clip, I'll probably do a video about this because as I'm talking about this, I'm realizing it's become a little bit more complicated, but yeah, I'll just do a video about it, okay? But the gist of it is basically just, you know, you could use frequency separations to help. If you can't do this utilizing a brush, using dodge and burn, you could use frequency separations to quickly, you know, select this area and blur it out if you needed to. A lot of people frown upon doing that. Retouchers frown upon doing that. So that's why I have been painstakingly trying to learn how to do this stuff by hand, which is utilizing dodge and burn to basically help blend those two things together. And ultimately it looks a little bit better as opposed to just blurring it. So that's all I would have to say with respect to this image. But overall, I think you did a good job. Okay, so with that said, I'm just gonna go to the comment section to see what you guys had to say, if anything, with respect to this image. But these were the two images that were submitted. And let me switch over to go to the comments. All right, so let's bring this up so I can see the comments. Okay, Alan. Alan is like, no disrespect. Is that a girl? Um, no, she's not a girl. She's a woman, um, Alan. But yes, I think she is a woman. Um, yeah, looking at the image again, yeah, I think she is a woman. I think what it is, Alan. Um, on a serious note, what I think it is, I think is the lighting is basically what's creating um, that illusion that you're looking for. I think she that well, not that you're looking for it. I think is just creating that illusion, if that makes sense. And I think on top of that, I think she works out and she's a little bit toned as well. So I think that's adding to the strongness factor that that note that you made in the comment. Um, and Alan proceeded to say, "Oh, the message is gone." So, what Martin Grisby stated: add add a third light, but a strong image. I agree. I certainly agree. And Alan noted, I like the image, by the way. So he, in addition to the other comments, he did enjoy the image. So I think overall you did a fantastic job with the image. Actually, I think both image creators that submitted images today did a fantastic job. I really think they did. So what other comments do you guys have with respect to this image that we just talked about? No other comments? All right, so if you guys don't have any additional comments with respect to this image, none. Okay, so Martin Grisby confirmed it. So great. All right, guys. So I really enjoyed you guys. By the way, do I sound distorted? Because I feel like in my ear when I'm listening to myself, I feel a little bit distorted. So Cool Pics mentioned here looks like a prison look. The bars look like a cot in the background, acting strong. It could be. You know, I don't get that sense though. That's thank you, Alan. I don't know. I gotta check this headphones to see why is it that I'm sounding so distorted. Um, thank you, Road, for confirming that as well. So going back to the comment that Cool Pics mentioned here, yeah, I don't get the sense that that's I don't get that sense that that's what it feels like. It just feels overall like a cool image. But I guess from a viewer perspective, I, and everyone else can interpret the image, however. That's basically how artists hope that the images get interpreted in different ways, and hopefully if they have a specific message in their image, hopefully that message is clearly communicated when they put it out there. But if it's an ambiguous image, then from a viewer perspective, everybody imposes their own viewpoints as to what that image is supposed to mean, quote unquote, like the Mona Lisa. So Eric also says, I like the image. Cool Pics says, I like the image. So overall, everyone is saying they like your image, Mario. So great job. All right, guys. So if you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and hit that thumbs up button on this video. Please share it with your friends and family if you think it would be helpful to them. Share it in groups, share it, in whatever groups you guys are on in Facebook, if you think it would be helpful to somebody else in a photography community or something, share it with them. Put some, after this video goes is no longer live, still put some comments down below. Let me know what you guys think about these images, what you thought about my feedback. If you agree, disagree, or if you had a different viewpoint, put it down below. Let me know what you guys think. And guys, if you got this far in the video and you haven't subscribed yet, what are you guys waiting for? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I want to make one more announcement. I made it at the beginning, but I wanted to make sure that you guys are aware that next Monday there's not going to be a Monday critique because I'll be in New York. There will be a Monday critique the following week. Okay, so apologies for that. I know there wasn't one last week, but there will be one, in not this week, but the following week. Okay. Alan just says use IG to alert followers next. Thank you for that. I'm terrible at this, in promoting stuff, but I appreciate that. I definitely will definitely do that. Are you having a meetup? Road is accent in New York. I am not, but if you want to meet up, let me know. I have no qualms about meeting people and chatting up and talking. So if you're in the New York area and you want to sit down and chop it up, let me know. You can hit me up on my social media. All right, guys. So that is it. I sincerely appreciate all you guys tuning in. Please submit your images in the Facebook group. Let me show it to you guys one more time so that you guys could, submit your images, because that keeps the Monday critique going. All right. So here, this is where you could submit your images. It's in the group called Fine Art Photography and Modeling. It's a Facebook group. Submit your images there. I pinned a specific status at the top of that group where you could basically put your images in the comments. So go ahead and drop your images in the comments, because it will just keep the Monday critique going. Okay. So that is it. Again, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I will see you guys in 2 weeks. Take care. Bye-bye.